Valerie with Lazy Llama DIY, my little crafty corner of the YouTubes. Yay! And today I'm getting to a technique that I have been wanting to show you since I started this channel. So we are going to be making this card, and we're going to be doing this very textured, very mysterious background. Let's get started on this card, shall we? Come on, let's go. For this project, we will be using the following materials. We have our scissors. We have fabric fix or any type of permanent adhesive. We're going to be using a metallic ink pad, or you know what? It could be pigment because we're going to be embossing it, so it doesn't really matter what color you put underneath. I'm choosing to emboss with this Stampendous lettuce bright green embossing powder. We are also going to be using some distress ink. This one is Vintage Photo from the Tim Holtz Distress ink. We're going to use an A2 size card, the color of your choice. And I've cut a piece of cardstock just to fit inside here. You know, your preferences take over as they will. This is what we're going to be covering, so it's probably better that it's cardstock rather than text weight, because I just don't want it to get warped. We are also going to be using a piece of vellum. I'm going to be stamping this dragonfly stamp from Stamp in the Hand. We are also going to be using masking tape. We'll need some paper towels. Our weird little bit is going to be kiwi shoe polish in cordovan. So we've put everything aside, and we're going to be working with our cardstock piece here. And this is sort of the labor-intensive part of our journey to card excellence. We're just going to layer the masking tape onto the card. Now, I have a very specific way of doing this. I don't want any of the straight edges to end up on the card. So I'm putting just the rough edges that I've torn. And if I get a straight edge on there, like I do here, generally I will cover that up when I go over. But oops. So like I just covered that straight edge there. And I like to work from the outside in. You know, don't be afraid of when your tape tears like mine just did. If your masking tape, a little hint, is really sticky, you can go ahead and stick it in the microwave for maybe 10 seconds and see if that helps loosen it up. Okay, now that I have the full card covered, let's go ahead and take a look. The thing that makes this interesting are just the pieces of small tape that are attached. So let's go ahead and start attaching some smaller pieces. And we're just going to layer them on top of one another. So what we're going to do now that we have our trimmed, now that we have our trimmed card here, and it's you can see the texture of the tape, right? We're going to open our can of Kiwi shoe polish. Oh, freshy fresh. I got this at, I believe, Walmart or Target in their little shoe section. And we're going to fold up our paper towel, get a nice coating of shoe polish on. I totally forgot. We need a piece of paper to catch the overflow. So I like to start from the center and just make little sweeping motions. And you can see how that texture is starting to come out. And you can see why it's important to have those torn edges and not the straight edges, because it really wouldn't pick up the darker bits of the shoe polish. Oops, got some on the nails. What else is new? This is why I can't have nice nails. So that's my first coat. And you can see here there's some missed spots. So we're just going to go over until all of those little spots are filled in. I'm going to start with a new layer of paper towel. Really get that inky. And now that I've burnished down a lot of the tape, so it's not trying to ride up, I can really get in there. And then go over it with fresh towel and rub off the excess. We are just going to let that sit. But here's our background. I really love this. I think it's really amazingly beautiful. We are ready to set that aside and move on. Okay, so now that our tape piece is drying and we're ready to move on with the other components of our card. One thing I neglected to mention in the materials list was a heat gun, because we are going to be embossing. Now, I don't know, back in the day before, you know, when we were just getting embossing powders, but in the store where I saw the demo, they had rigged an iron in like a plastic shoebox with toweling around it so that the iron sat plate up. And so they would just get their embossing and do this over the heat source until it embossed. So don't be thinking you got to go out and spend $30 on a heat gun, because okay, so we're taking our Dragonfly, which is again from Stamp in the Hand, and we're taking our Encore metallic pad, and which is just nice and freshly re-inked, so it's nice and inky. We're going to stamp it on our paper. Oh, I need a little catch-all. And we're just going to dump our embossing powder. So that's how that came out. I might. Okay. So here's our Dragonfly. Okay, so I've cut 2 dragonflies out and have embossed them, or embossed them and then cut them out. Let's be correct. And what I'm going to do now is, because I think that this looks a little too much samey, so I want to add a little bit of depth to the card, and I'm just going to lightly give the edges a nice bit of wash with the vintage photo pad. So you can see it's got a little bit of edge now, because once I put this card over it, now it's not looking so new and bright. Okay, now I don't know if that's still coming off a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so we'll know when that's done, when we can't pick up any more of the shoe polish. And very little of it is coming up. So that's pretty much a done deal. So I think we can go ahead and get ready to stick that down. Okay, so I've got my glue dots, and we're just going to attach our dragonflies, and I'm using this Fabrifix glue. If you watch a lot of YouTube videos, perhaps you've seen Nick the Booksmith. She's the one that uses this glue, and I was all excited because I was like, a glue I haven't seen before, and I thought it would be good for vellum. So I've just put the glue on the little body here and not the wings, so that the wings will sit up. I'm just using the heat of my two fingers here to kind of gently curl up the wings. And that worked a little. Okay, so we're just going to apply our glue. Okay, there we go. So that's our finished card. I hope you like it. I hope you really give this masking tape technique a try. I feel like, you know, when you look at the cards, you're just like, wow, that's an amazing background, but you're not quite sure what it is, which is always fun. So if you try this yourself, go ahead and hashtag it on Instagram, Lazy Lima DIY, and I will get to see your creations. I'm excited about that. You know, feel free to change it up. You don't have to use the cordovan shoe polish. You can use tan or black or whatever. I wanted to show you another card I did with this technique. This is it, this little square card, and you can see I put on several layers of the shoe polish to get it really nice and dark, and then I sort of 3D'd, tied some twigs together with wire and glued that on. Yep, it's like hot glued onto the card. So the possibilities for this technique are kind of endless. So go ahead and have fun with it, y'all. Thank you again for watching Lazy Lima DIY. I really appreciate it, and I hope you subscribe for more crafty goodness from me. And go ahead and hit the little bell button, and that means you'll get a notification when I have a new video up. Okay, so have a great day, and toodles.